Today in the hot sheet, we are joined by one of the most accomplished live television producers in the world, four-time Emmy winner Al Berman. He has produced over 6,000 hours of live TV, everything from Survivor finales to live broadcasts from space. And now he's the showrunner behind Netflix's Skyscraper Live featuring Alex Honnold, free soloing Taipei 101. This is a man who makes impossible television happen live. You don't want to miss this episode, especially if you're interested in working in live TV. Stay till the end. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Now let's get to the episode.
Welcome, Alan, to the hot sheet.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Thanks. Happy to be here. Happy to see you both.
We are so happy to have you and talk about your amazing film that blew up the internet, Skyscraper Live. You're the man in charge, and we can't wait to learn all about that amazing day. But I have a question. First of all, like how in a world of like no's, when you go to the development room and everything's a no and 90% no, how did you get the green light to do this show with like the world's best free solo climber, on a live event on one of the tallest buildings, Taipei 101, and get Netflix to say yes? How did you get that green light?
Yeah, I would say it's more than 95%. It's very close to 100% no.
100% no. We live in a 100% no world.
Out there and how many the networks actually buy and then develop and then green light and then make air. So it doesn't happen a lot. And for me, it was almost 20 years trying to get this done.
Oh,
First,
wow.
was a Fox network hired me to go there with Alain Robert, a French free soloist. This is back in 2008. And so we went to that building, Taipei 101, and we got permission from the building to do it. We got permission from Fox, go ahead. So we got the green light from Fox. But then here's where the 99% comes in. He ended up climbing the New York Times building illegally. He was taken away in handcuffs. And so Fox said, oh, no, we can't really do a big show with this guy because he just made front page news because he tried to climb the New York Times building without ropes. So there went that. And then National Geographic hired me in 2013 to work with a much younger Alex Honnold. And so to do the same thing, Taipei 101, at the time, it was the tallest building in the world and certainly one of the most interesting architecturally, most interesting climbs for any climber. And so we went out there and we got permission from the building. And we got permission from National Geographic, and we worked up all the budgets and the rundowns, and management changed at Nat Geo. They said, we don't want to do live anymore. It was part of the deal with Disney coming in as well. One of the things that could live on their platform, and they thought live events could not. We've since proven that wrong. And then again in 2000 for the History Channel. So the History Channel says, hey, listen, what about this guy? You want to get this going again? I said, sure, let's do that. I started calling around buildings, but COVID was just hitting. And so people were saying no. And then COVID basically just wiped us out. So that was the third time, as they say, the fourth time is the charm.
Wow.
But I partnered with a team that had done a couple of series with Alex for National Geographic, and said, okay, let's see if we can get this going again. So we did. Netflix was about a year and a half into let's do live. Let's own the live space, which hasn't really happened in a number of years. And so we were fortunate enough, our timing was good. The project was good enough. At that point, Alex had done Free Solo, the Oscar-winning film. Yeah. And so people knew who he was. You have to convince everybody, including ITV, which owns the production company, Netflix, which is a publicly traded company, the building, which is one of the most important buildings in all of Taiwan, that he's not going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there was that. And
Yeah.
so we hired a safety team that came in. We had Alex meet with the people in Taipei 101, and finally they said, "Okay, let's do it." And so we
Wow.
did, keeping in mind that let's do it. So we did doesn't mean you've got it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because so many other things could happen. For instance, China could decide now's the time to invade Taiwan,
Yeah.
in which case we're not going to go. Or
Right.
there's a big
Right.
typhoon heading in that direction. There's all kinds of things that could still go wrong. So fortunately, things went right, with the exception of 1 day delay because of weather.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah, you had the weather
Yeah.
issue that came in.
Yeah.
But what an unbelievable I think this is something that people that are outside of the business really don't understand, like, how much effort goes into getting these shows off the ground, and like you said, it took 20 years, and you need levels of, agreement and, like, from the building to the city, to Alex being ready for it, to the production company, to the network, and on and on and on, and legal and safety, and all these things have to come together just to get this show off the ground, and it's that is an amazing feat in and of itself, so congrats on that,
Yeah.
and
Thanks.
being
Yeah.
dedicated, like, why were you so dedicated to do this? Or was that driven by Alex or you
No,
or like
dedication, it's just kind of this is what I like to do. So I wouldn't describe it as dedication on my part. It's let's look for the opportunity to do it. And then we finally got the opportunity to do it one last, we finally got the opportunity to do it. So
yeah.
I've never thought about it as being dedicated, though I can see where it's seen that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a number of projects that are always churning at any one time. Some are crazier than others. All are crazy. And, and then you have so many stakeholders who need to agree it's good for them.
Right.
Alex needs to, Alex's wife
Right.
needs
Yeah.
to, Alex's management needs to, as well as Netflix, as well as the production company, um, and the nation of Taiwan. Everybody has to agree that this is good for them.
Right.
Otherwise,
Right.
it doesn't happen.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
How
That's wow.
how did you convince them that Alex was going to be safe, that he was gonna be okay? Like, how did? Because obviously from a viewer's point of view, it's like the craziest thing in the world to climb this building and especially do it without ropes and live. That is like danger 101, right? So how do you say, "Hey, no, he's actually gonna be okay, or we're gonna do this?"
Well, there's a phrase I like to use, which is called perceived risk versus actual risk. The perceived risk was massive, right? Any mistake
Massive.
he could
Yeah,
die. And nobody who knows anybody who would do it, except in the climbing world. And even a lot of people in the climbing world would never do it. So what's the actual risk? So the actual risk is he is the most experienced free solo climber of the planet and one of the most experienced climbers of the planet. Been doing it for 40 years. He proved himself with free solo. Compared to free solo, this was not a walk in the park, but it was pretty reasonable for his skill set. He trained and trained and then trained more, not only physically, but also his mind. And then we had, so there are things like the audience didn't see it, but we had a safety rope that was tucked into what we call the corner, one of the corners, one of the arrests here.
oh, yeah.
Uh,
I love the model.
so right in here, there was a rope that came all the way down. And that if there was something, let's say, cramped up, or if there was an earthquake, or for some reason he would have been able to reach over and clip it to provide him some safety. That was a big deal. Um, but mostly it was the his ability to convince everybody, as we were convinced. I'm not going to do business with somebody who might die. I mean,
Right,
I have no
right.
interest in that. I've been approached by people who wanted to do shows with me who have died
Oh, wow.
doing what they do. But, I reach out to other experts and I get a good assessment as to, what the actual risk is and then, then commit to it. The, and then there was it's not only the safety of Alex, it's the safety of people on the ground, people who
Mm,
are hanging from the building with cameras.
Yeah.
right.
If somebody dropped a carabiner or a battery, it could kill somebody on the ground, right? So we
Mm,
established a perimeter where nobody was allowed, not even our talent and our set. It was like maybe 150 meters, something like that, to minimize the risk to people on the ground, people who are hanging from the building, or there are risks associated with, let's say there was some kind of protest or a gunman rushes the stage. There's all
mm,
kinds of risks.
wow.
And what we do is we say, if then, it's a big, big document. If then, if this happens, then we do that. If this happens, then we do that. And it's a, it's a very big thing we put together and then present to the stakeholders, to the building, to ITV networks, to Netflix.
Right.
Wow.
Wow.
Do you guys rehearse any of that stuff? Like,
Yes.
yeah.
That's a very good question. Yes. So the thing that we rehearse is if there's any kind of emergency. So there are two buttons. One cuts audio, one cuts video. And it's funny because Alex was asked about this in an interview. He says, "I have no idea what they were doing, but we had a delay that was set up that we rehearsed. So should anything happen, then we would go to a wide shot of the Taipei 101. I'm sorry, a wide shot of the city from a location called Elephant Mountain. So you couldn't see anything there, just a big, wide, sweeping shot of the city with Taipei 101 small in the background until we figure out, where we're going next. And so we have that. We practice all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Uh, Show like this, how big is your crew?
So the crew is about 140, 150, something like
Oh,
that.
that's a
It's
big
not a
team.
huge crew for a big event.
Yeah.
Um, but we brought in the very, very best people from the United States, mostly from LA and then from the UK, and then hired a bunch of locals for, we hired local truck, for instance, and by the way, the Taiwanese do not build their trucks for people who are 6'3". And so I wasn't really able to stand the way I normally
Oh,
want to.
you're 6'3"? You're 6'3"?
Yeah, in the truck. It was
Oh.
inside. But we hired as many local people as we could, as much local infrastructure as we could. Set designers,
That's
not set designers, but art directors, builders, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
that's funny. I actually was gonna ask you how tall you are because I saw a picture of you and Alex, and I think he's quite tall, right? And you were much taller than him. How
He's
tall
about,
is Alex?
hmm, I'd say he's about 5.
10 or
Tall.
11? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
I
that's
can tell
funny.
you his hands are much bigger than mine.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean all the climbers. So the cameramen who you saw,
Oh,
dangling, whatever, they're
yeah.
all climbers, right?
Yeah,
If you
and
take
they're
the average hand, let's say mine's the average hand, just multiply the width by 2
Oh, really?
fingers. They are so muscular. Yeah,
Wow, that's
which
Wow.
interesting.
yeah, it's a very important thing for them.
Wow.
That's very cool. I don't think I'd make a great climber. My hands are small, but they are strong.
You start one one grab at a time.
I'm all about going as fast as I can downhill, not as slow
Yeah,
as I can uphill. So, but I can appreciate climbing so much. It's a mental game as much as it is physical, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, like the guy that we would see on the broadcast that was strapped in the chair and hanging from a
Oh,
crane,
yeah.
you couldn't have paid me $1 billion to do that.
yeah, but he's lucky. So that's Brett Lowell, I'm sorry. And he's been with Alex. He was with me in Taiwan back in 2013, the same project. He's one of the world's best uh, climbing cinematographers, and that's what they do. Any climbing film that you see, and maybe you'll see more now that you've been exposed to this, It's a fascinating world, and that's what these people do. They rig from the top and they hang from ropes.
That's
Wow, man,
amazing.
that's wild.
And so the crew, the climbers that, like obviously we saw some of them in the show. So they've climbed with Alex, like they're friends with him because I read some of where that they were buddies. So I didn't know if that meant that they
Yeah, they're
just knew
very
each other or they trust. There's like a real trust
yeah.
there.
Every cameraman was selected by Alex.
Wow.
Okay, wow.
He's got to know every cameraman who's on the building.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
has to know that these people aren't going to kick something. It's more important when you're on a wall, a rock wall, because you have loose stones. It's just stuff
Uh-huh.
that can happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so he knows them. They know each other. They know his moves. They know how to cover his moves.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a very, very tight, remarkable, great group of guys.
Oh, that's
Wow.
And
fascinating.
women. There was one woman there too, Samantha,
Yeah.
um,
Oh,
who
neat.
was a cinematographer also. Yeah.
That's awesome. I
Wow.
love that. So Alex was comfortable with the crew. He knew everybody. I would think, yeah, you would want that comfort. Like
Yeah. Yeah. He
you're
knew everybody. He was talking to them on the way up.
Yeah,
Uh,
he was, man, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So can we just cut to like game day? I think when I heard about this show, I called Sean. I was like, we've got to do a live show on this, a live on the live show, because this is the craziest thing I've ever heard of. I mean, you have Free Solo, the movie. I come from an extreme sports background, so like you see a lot of these things, but live, there's just something very different about it being live versus live to tape. And the anticipation for that show was unbelievable. All the online chatter, people just couldn't wait. And then it rained on Friday night, the night it was supposed to go, and we had to wait. So there was even more anticipation on Saturday. Like, is it going to happen? And all this kind of stuff. What was going through your mind? Like, you're the showrunner, you're the guy in charge of all the moving parts. What was going through your mind on, from that Friday and leading up to the Saturday event?
Less than you think. The
Nice.
reason I say that is because I've done thousands of hours of live television. I mean, I was in a live control room every day for 25 years. And
Wow.
then started doing, studio things and big prime time things, and then kind of this world, natural history. So I'm very, very comfortable in a control room. It's my happy place, and or controlled truck in this case. So it's really a matter of just shucking and jiving and making the adjustments that you have to make. The so we were well aware that there could have been a weather delay. And so was a system for getting, we had several meteorologists that we had hired who would give us reports every morning, sometimes twice a day. And then we would strategize on how we want to handle it. This was new for Netflix. They've never done a live program that couldn't air potentially when they wanted it to air.
Right, right.
So that was kind of, learning as they went along. But, it was fine for me. I'm curious as to how it affected the ratings or the numbers, um, bad or good. I don't know. The argument could be made that we got a lot more attention because of the rain delay and more people tuned in. Otherwise, but my 97-year-old mom, she's in a nursing home. They had a watch party Friday night, and the show was canceled. So I don't know how many watch parties were canceled.
Oh,
Uh,
man.
on Friday, so don't know. And then when I actually do this show, I'm fine. I mean, people ask me, am I nervous or adrenaline rush and stuff like that. I'm not nervous at all, and less adrenaline than you might expect.
Well, I'll tell you this, the live on the live for us, there's probably sounds like there was more stress in our room than there was in yours. Oh my God, is
No,
it happening? No, oh my
Is
God,
it
are they doing it?
happening?
Are they not
Oh,
doing it? Oh my God.
yeah, no, I was very nervous because it was the first live show I've ever done. You've done 6,000 hours of live. This was our number one live on, with my own show. And I didn't know it was live for the first 10 minutes and I was like fixing my hair and cleaning the
Oh, okay.
thing and talking
Yeah,
to
that's
my
a
husband and my
mistake.
dog. And I was
Yeah.
like, and then I look at the tape now and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're such a rookie. Like when it says live, it's like you're going.
Yeah, if I'm not on camera, that's additional pressure there to be on camera. But I'm speaking for myself. I mean, there are people, for instance, network executives or people from ITV. They're freaked out.
Yeah.
They are
I bet.
absolutely freaked out
Yeah.
because they have not been exposed to this kind of thing before. But my director, my co-EP, we've all worked together on a lot of big projects, so that's a different vibe there.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, ethically speaking, this is something, we really weighed and because we don't want to take viewers from you, and we're cautious of that, right? When you're doing a live event like that on Netflix. But for us, it was like there's a lot of people that don't have Netflix,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people that don't want to stomach watching that because
Yeah,
God forbid something goes wrong. And so we thought, because we're not showing your show, we're just it's a live
Commenting.
reaction to
Yeah.
what's happening on your show. Ethically speaking, how do you feel, because there's a lot of this happening on YouTube. The difference between us and a lot of other people, they're trying to pirate your show and we are not. Um, ethically speaking, I mean, are we in bounds there? I mean,
no problem. I mean, if you're going to make money off the Netflix presentation, then you have an obligation to get permission from Netflix to do that.
yeah,
Sure.
So
Yeah.
that's the question. Are you
yeah,
simulcasting? So, the Peyton brothers, they do their thing alongside the football game, whatever. I think they need to get approval
yeah,
for
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
Although, wait, if somebody's watching, I don't know exactly how that works, actually. If you're watching them on YouTube and you're watching the broadcast on network TV, and then there's no issue. There's no ethical issue. I think it's a way of kind of spreading the word. And,
yeah,
and for Netflix, I'll speak for Netflix, though I don't work for them. It was very important that this get buzz, right? So it's more than how many people watched. It's what's the conversation around it and how many people are thinking Netflix.
yeah,
And so you're thinking Netflix when you're doing what you're doing, and you're
Yeah.
helping to spread the word.
Yeah.
And I think I would think that they would look favorably on that.
yeah.
Well, we had 4,000 viewers on our little channel, which was
Oh,
super fun. My first live show got, I consider that a hit. It was fun. And I thought, this show it's so nerve-wracking with the stakes so high, right? And this idea of like, well, what if the worst happens? That's in the back of everyone's mind. So why watch it alone? Like, why don't we watch it together as a community? That was sort of my idea and Sean's idea, like let's share this experience and make this a group thing. So, like you're at a football game or something like that. And some people didn't have Netflix and they weren't watching it. They were just watching me watch it, which is kind of funny. And there was a lot of comments and people were very engaged. So I think, if Netflix wanted to create some engagement there. We were happy to do it, and I feel like we got a little engagement. It
yeah,
was it
yeah. I
was
mean, they
fun.
have a whole kind of social media engagement thing that if you wanted, if you wanted to get more formal about it, you can coordinate with them,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
things like that. But I think that's the world now, right?
Yeah.
Wait, that's how we communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even now you're seeing, like, even with the competing halftime show, and then the other night there was a competing thing to the State of the Union, and it's like there's all these competing things now where it seems like that's gonna be the new wave, right?
Yeah,
Is
there's a market for it.
yeah.
So you guys have a plan. You have plans on plans on plans, and what if plans. So walk us through the day of like how did your plan versus the game day plan go? How did that work out?
Well, I'll tell you something that was really remarkable for me, and that is, so we had loaded the show with stuff because there were certain parts of certain members of the team who thought that this would be boring, or at a certain point it's going to be boring. So let's have this, let's have that, let's have this package, let's have this demo, let's check heart rates of our people on our set compared to Alex's, a bunch of things that we had. And what was really remarkable to me, and I had not planned for, was the audience and Alex interacting. So
That
all of
was
our rehearsals
incredible.
was never with an audience, right? Never with a crowd. Sometimes the people show up on a corner or whatever. But when Alex turned and acknowledged the audience that was cheering him, that changed the dynamic of the
Yeah.
just changed it, right? I mean, build up drama, 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 but it wasn't. It was, I love what I'm doing. Hey guys, thousands of people down there. This is cool. Like, I hope you like this too. And so as soon as that started happening, it became more compelling in my mind, and I started throwing stuff out. I had a play-by-play person. I didn't introduce him until probably 15 minutes into the show. I had this demonstration where people um, tried to hang from a hangboard, where you strengthen your fingers.
Yeah, yeah,
Whole
yeah.
setup. We had a hangboard set up. Our talent was gonna go there. We're gonna invite other people to try it. Threw that out, threw out packages because what was happening, he would get to the top of one of these dragons, and he'd look out. People were cheering him and saying, "Hey, this is cool," and so that was remarkable to me, and I think it made a what we knew was going to be a compelling program even more interesting, fascinating, enjoyable. Definitely more enjoyable. And I think more interesting and fascinating for me. It was fascinating for me because I knew this. I didn't know this was going to happen. And happen. I said, "Shit, look at that! This is that." So that was a big thing for me.
Yeah.
That was a big thing for as a viewer because when he just looked so relaxed and he,
Yeah,
gave Sammy a hug. Is it Sammy or Sandy?
Sandy,
Sandy.
Sanny.
Sandy a hug and he walked over the building and he seemed so relaxed and he's like, "Hey guys," and you're like, "Wait, this isn't the perilous experience that I was expecting. He's
Yeah,
having a blast." And I read that in one of the articles. I don't know if it was Outside Magazine or New York Times or whatever, but he Alex, it seemed like, wanted the audience to understand his joy,
yeah.
that this thing wasn't about fear and being scared, but like joy, and that he truly loves doing this, and this is his comfort zone. This is his happy place, and you feel that when he's just smiling and saying, I
Honestly, yeah, I think that's his gift to the world. Because I've done other things with other people who've done, really crazy stunts or amazing stunts, but he shared a part of him that helps people understand the mindset. But he also shared with them the joy of accomplishing something quite extraordinary. So that was layered kind of not at the top, but near the top of kind of what the viewer in my mind was experiencing as they're watching this thing. Once you get past this, oh my God, I can't watch. I'm afraid. And there's a relief. It's almost a comic relief where he says, "Hey guys, this is cool." Right. And the takeaway, I think for many people, I mean, many people, not maybe not most, is that, wow, what an interesting guy. Now, a lot of people think he's just, crazy as shit. But th- those of us who know him know it's exactly the opposite. And I think I know some of that filtered, down to the audience.
Yeah, when he
well,
was up there waving, I was like, "Just grab the damn building. What are you
just
doing?" Like, like
but
Yeah,
it's like he
the light
gave
ledges like that. I mean, it's like nothing.
so crazy.
It's second
yeah.
nature for him.
But it's
Yeah, I
like
mean, I'm
he
terrified
gave
of heights, so, like, when he's up there all relaxed, I'm like, "No, man, they grabbed the building." Like, I'm standing up, I'm, like, pacing, I'm like, "Just do it. Just hold on."
He could do
it's like
a tango up there. I mean, he's perfectly comfortable.
it's but he gave permission to have joy in that, and I think that there's something really beautiful about that because, as a former extreme athlete myself, I was a professional downhill mountain bike racer for years and in the X Games, and so everyone thinks you're crazy, and you are a little crazy for sure, but everything you're doing is extremely calculated. So you're not taking, like you said, like random crazy risks. Like, you know exactly where the risks are, exactly how fast you can go, how fast you hit that turn, where the turn is. All these things are extremely calculated and planned out, and rehearsed. And so there's less risk in it than one might think, and there is more joy for the person that's doing it. And I think he was able to really give permission to have that joy instead of this fearful experience, which was just very interesting. I mean, he's such an interesting character like that,
Yeah,
because
I think
nobody articulates that better than he does.
yeah, you're 100% right, and it's interesting to hear that from someone other than Alex. Yeah, as I'm watching the Olympics, I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, they just love being out there. Sure, there's some nerves, right? But
For
they
sure.
love
Yeah.
being on the ice or on the slope or whatever it is.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the other, another interesting, not directly related, when Alex describes the risk, he says the risk of something going wrong is much higher in motocross or in boxing or in NFL football. The consequences of a mistake are worse with what he does. The actual chances of something going wrong or getting hurt is much less for him, the way he does his sport.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is an interesting perspective.
It is,
That is
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, but there's nothing that makes you feel more alive than to be scared, to death, to the point where you have to really pay attention, and by not paying attention matters and has big consequences. And there's nothing that being on the edge like that, makes you feel, more alive. There's nothing. And I
100%.
think,
Yeah.
and Alex, I think he was trying to make that point. I love that. It was a great message. I think I read a lot of online chatter just to see what people were saying about the show. And there's a lot of people that will never understand that. And they'll just hold to he's crazy and that's it, instead of trying to understand his mindset. But at least he presented the challenge, and you can take the challenge or not.
At the very least, even for people who thought he was crazy, he showed them what human beings can do. So there's always, and throughout our history, there's always been the person who pushes, right? Beyond anything we could ever anticipate happening. That's how records
Yeah.
in every year,
Yeah.
in sport for every X number of years. Because there's always somebody willing to push and try harder.
That's
And
right.
Yeah.
and that's part of the human existence, right? That's how we are here using this technology to talk, because people said, "Let's go for it. Let's go, push, push, push." So I think it is in harmony with kind of our human nature, that there's always somebody who's doing this and inspiring us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. That's really well said. And it's lovely that Alex is the guy, he's articulate, he loves what he does, and he has this wonderful wife who supports him. I mean, I think, in Free Solo, they talk a lot about their relationship, and how, he had to just explain to Sunny, like, this is who I am. And, she has to accept that on some level. I'm sure that they talk and agree on certain things, but that's an interesting dynamic there too,
Yeah,
because
well, and they're 10 years into it now with 2 kids, and her I think she might have actually said in the broadcast, but basically, how she feels is this is what he loves to do.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
He knows the consequences.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's wild, man. It's
Wild.
yeah.
So you're the guy in the truck calling the shots, and Alex is just waving to the crowd, having fun. I love what you said earlier. You said something that the building, if Alex is the protagonist, because this is all the story, of course, the building was less the antagonist and more just his friend.
Yeah, there was, once again, there was a disagreement about this, but there was a push to make this a drama. Um, with Alex, the protagonist, the building the antagonist, he's got to get through this. How will he do it? Will he be able to do it? Will he tap out? That whole kind of thing, which kind of melted away once he was on the building, and so it was more like, I love this building. That was the actual dynamic.
Right.
I love this experience, right? Which went
Yeah.
counter to storytellers' general predisposition to create drama. That wasn't necessary in this case. The drama was prima facie, right there in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so that was interesting. That was interesting part of the process of developing the show.
Another bold choice that you made that day, which thought was amazing, was I think there was a 4-minute section of just climbing, like no cutaways, no distraction, just this beautiful moment of him climbing. And in TV world, 4 minutes is like a lifetime. But I think it was 4 minutes, right? Was that time?
Yeah,
You
there were
know,
there were various times where I asked the talent to stop talking. So I have quite a bit of experience with this, and with kind of sensing with these things. Somebody's walking a tightrope, or somebody's jumping out of a plane without a parachute, or somebody's holding balloons flying up into the air. Um, when the drama speaks for itself, and it's a bigger version of when the Super Bowl champion are, win, right?
Yeah.
Then everybody, they call it laying out in sports. Everybody lays out. Everybody just stops. Or the Dodgers win the World Series. Everybody stops talking and you're just watching it all unfold, right? Sometimes a long, long time before the producer said, okay, that's enough. So this was that idea, but much more so because there was, look, the climb is going to take roughly an hour and a half. And we probably, in retrospect, I probably would have done that a little bit more, a little bit less chat than we did, especially in the beginning. But there were times I think the audience just enjoyed being able to just watch him climb and be able to hear him breathing, hear his shoes squeak, that kind of thing, or when he's cleaning off his shoes, just to watch those things. And that was a real time call.
that's amazing. Yeah, that was a fantastic call. And you forget, like, yeah, I think he is just so mesmerizing and beautiful when someone does something as well as Alex. Like, he's a true expert. He's just like step, climbs. Every movement he makes is so beautiful that when you're watching somebody that good, that's all you need. I think that that really was a dramatic moment, like just being quiet and the
Well, as it
wind. You
got
could,
yeah, as it got higher, I did it more, right?
yeah,
Then we got to the last section with the tower. The very last part of the spire is, I said, "Don't say a word," right? And then she jumped in on her own. When he did it, so he's done it.
that's
The
fine. But I read in the comments that people enjoyed just those moments. Like they um were critical of some of the commentary.
Yeah, there
I
was too much. I think that there was probably in retrospect too much. Some people think yes, some people no. In my own opinion, probably yes. My premise going into this, once again, there were a number of differences of opinion. But if there are no cameras anywhere, and you happen to be on the street, across the street from Taipei 101, and you see a guy start climbing it, are you going to watch?
oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What's he doing? Oh my God. Wait, do I have my binoculars? Oh my God. I must start peeking. Right. And,
Yeah.
and so that's without anything else. That dynamic in my mind was going to happen.
Amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
So
That's
a way to have done this, not the way we did it, but a way to have done this would be to build with that presumption, and then add here and there to fill in areas where you might want to learn something, or you might you want to hear from his best friend, who was Emily Harrington, or you want to hear from an expert, and to build it that way. We ended up in the same place,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I threw everything out, not everything, but I threw a lot of things out. But we could have also kind of structured it that way, which we would the next time because everybody now knows
Yeah.
Yeah.
that that's how it plays.
And so when you're making those decisions, like, do I add this package? Do I throw this out? Do I live on Alex? All those game day decisions, are you going on your gut or experience or just what you're seeing and reacting to that? Like, you're like an emergency room doctor, just like this. So how do you, what's
Well,
your
it's kind of a
go-to?
combination of all those. I mean, my feeling is gut is you developed an intuition through experience, right?
Right.
And so that's primarily what it is. I try to put myself at home, it, as if I'm watching at home. So I have two people talking to my ears, right? I got a director, I got all these people around me, whatever, and I'm going like this, and leave me alone, leave me alone. And I'm trying to watch and I'm trying to sense how this is playing at home. And that's really what it is. It's so I ask, I don't know what's next. I say, okay, what's next? What's the next item? Next item is a package. Okay, fine. I have in the back of my mind, okay, next time I'm back to listening, kill the package, right? Or let's do the package now. And so that's more, people describe this position or me as kind of an orchestra leader. Um, but real time, that is more kind of just paying attention and using the skills that you've developed over the decades to make decisions that make sense to me and hopefully, if someone taps me on the shoulder, they got an idea or whatever, they think we need more of this or less of that, a network executive, then I'll do that. I'll figure out how to do that unless I think it's a really bad mistake.
In the truck, can you explain to our audience the hierarchy? Because you do have a director and the director's not making that call. Like, how
Yeah,
does
it's
that work?
different. It works different for this kind of television, right? Live multi-camera television. And so the hierarchy is from the production standpoint. So set aside Netflix executives. That's me. It's a co-EP who's right next to me, who's helping me keep track of everything, including timings. And then it's called the back row. And then there's somebody who's timing the show. There are a couple of other people in the back row. And the front row is the director. So the director, Joe DeMeo, one of the best live directors who's ever existed and does most of my shows now. He's the one who's saying, ready 5, take 5. So 5 refers to camera 5, right? Ready graphic. So the graphic is on a channel called X. Ready X, take X. And so he clipped their mics. He's directing the team that's out there. He is executing everything according to the plan and then accommodating the changes. So if we say kill item 57, which is a package about fear of heights, kill 57. So he'll say, okay, and he has an assistant director next to him and a technical director. So the assistant director is what the co-EP is for me, which is the assistant director keeps him on track. Here's what you're doing next. Here's what you're doing next. The technical director pushes the buttons. So the TD pushes the button that takes camera 4, pushes the button that rolls the tape, pushes the button that puts this graphic on. So that's the front row. The front row is a director who is in charge of the front row, which is the person that pushes the button, that allows us to see everything that we see. So the director in this case, there's a constant dialogue, but once we're on the air, he knows, and he kind of knows me, and he knows what he's doing. And so he'll take the helicopter shot. Then he'll cut to the shot from the cable cam. Then he'll take a crowd reaction. Then he'll hold on the crowd reaction because the crowd reaction is really good. right? And how long he does each of these things, the pacing of all of that, that's his art, which he does exceptionally well. Now, sometimes in other situations, things may be moving too slowly, or there may be a great shot he doesn't see. Like Alex, oh, it was somebody crying, right? That I see. We have 30 something cameras in there. So, I see somebody crying. I'll shout, hey, look at 7. There's somebody crying, and then he'll find 7 and figure out when to take camera 7 to show that person crying. But basically, that's his thing up there, and that's the difference. In a more traditional, well, people think of directors more traditionally as being in charge of all the creative, right? So in my world, that's me in charge of all the creative. He's in charge of executing an extremely complicated broadcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's really interesting because, you hear the word director, and like you said, you think, like you just said there, that was a great explanation
Yeah,
there.
thanks for explaining that because again, this is like there's a whole truckload of people making all these millions of decisions behind the scenes and then the viewers just enjoy the hour and a half of the show, but there's a whole world. In fact, you know what? You just gave me an idea. The next live show, we could do live filming the live crew.
Oh, there
We
you go.
could be in the truck with you doing live on live.
It's interesting. The truck, when people, this truck was not big enough, but a typical truck like here in the United States, you can have 6, 7 people in the back row, and when they experience that, it's like
Whoa.
it's like being in an emergency room, right? And
Yeah.
overseeing that and say, "What the fuck?" Uh, uh, yeah, it's a fun place to be, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I was in a truck when I was a production assistant, like I was just starting out in the business and I did a volleyball event in New Jersey or
Oh,
something like
cool.
that. And I was in the truck. It was so fun. I loved it. So I got a little tiny taste of it. Um, did you have comms with Alex? I read somewhere that he was
So yeah, Alex had full-time mic. He had music playing in one ear with an interrupt. So, and then one of the other EPs, his sole job was he's very close to Alex. He's done these other series with him for Nat Geo. And his job was to speak with Alex and also to talk to the cameramen who were on the building.
Mhm.
And so so at the beginning of the show, you see Alex in a van, and I say, okay, tell Alex to walk to the base of the building. So James cues Alex, okay, begin your walk, right? Okay, stand by, begin to climb, okay, begin. So he tells Alex in his ear. So um, Alex, we wanted to have this as I have the ability to speak with him, but didn't want to speak with him because we just wanted to have one voice.
Right.
He had one voice and his music in his ear until we opened up our talent, L Duncan, who's our main host, to speak with Alex. And we had prescribed, we knew where we wanted to do those conversations.
Wow. That's
But for the most
amazing.
part, it's like, there was one time Alex on air asked, am I supposed to go across
Oh,
here? Because he was on one arret, he was supposed to go across to get up to where Sonny could see him from inside the building. Yeah, and James said, yeah, go across there. But otherwise, there was very little direction for
like,
Alex.
which way am I going? Where do I go?
He just didn't
That's
remember the path.
Wow.
That's
He
wild.
actually did remember the path. He just wasn't sure. But keep in mind, here's something that's very, very interesting. He knew every hold on that building, every hold. And the guys dried off all the holds and cleaned, if there are any bugs or birds' nests, or like they found a dead bird a few days before air, just clean off everything. So no spiders, right? So he puts his hand in there, he doesn't get a spider bite.
Oh,
These are
right.
things that are routinely done for rock climbing.
Oh,
And
wow.
we're done for this building as well.
I didn't even
Wow.
think about that.
That's so crazy. I heard him in an interview talking about, like, putting his hand in a hole and you get bit, and when you're on a mountain
Oh,
on the side of you just gotta keep going. Like, there is no, "Oh, time out." No, you it's all here, he said, it's on the
wow.
head. It's
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even think about that. That's insane.
Yeah, or
Wow.
being attacked by birds. That
Oh.
happens not that it happens often enough.
Oh,
Wow.
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 Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that shot with Sonny in the building, that was the scariest shot for me.
Well,
Because I mean, she's so beautiful and she was smiling. She was as happy as Alex. And, it was just all this joy going on. But I was like, don't distract him. If he sees you, he's going to, get distracted. And that was the most terrifying moment for me watching
Just
yeah,
grab the damn building. Just
it.
hold on.
yeah, we talked that through with both Sonny and with Alex.
Yeah.
So they all knew what was gonna happen, where they were gonna be, and they both were cool with it.
That's amazing.
Did you
I
have
was
any idea
terrified.
of all the tenants in the building, that they would be there going did you guys kind of have an idea that
Yeah,
was
you
gonna
knew
happen?
that was gonna happen. We
That
didn't know
was
how many people were
fun.
gonna be there on a weekend,
Yeah.
but we had done a rehearsal with ropes, a couple of rehearsals, not full climbs, but he climbed sections of the building with ropes. Even back in September when we were on our first scout, there were people inside waving to him and stuff. And
Incredible.
yeah,
You said he was listening to music. I read somewhere that he was listening to Tool. Is that right? Was he
yeah,
listening to Tool? I
yeah.
love that.
I had a Google tool. I had no idea.
Yeah.
See, I listened to Tool back in the mountain bike days, so I in my mountain bike days, so I know all about it. That's a good I could s I wanted to feel his vibe. I get it.
Yeah, he loved to climb with music. When I was with him in Vegas, we were talking about how to handle his ear, because he had a microphone pack on his back, and we didn't really want him to have another pack to feed him music and for IFB and stuff. And so we rigged something with a phone, and so he was able to listen to music from his phone with an IFB interrupt if we needed to speak with him or if talent needed to speak with him.
Wow. Yeah,
Very cool. Wow, what a thing.
you know,
And what
I was gonna
Go
say,
ahead.
that spot with, he's climbing, he's like, "Oh, this must be the Google floor." I was thinking that little scene's gonna end up in a Google commercial. They're gonna buy that footage from you for a Google commercial. It's
So
like,
the
"Hi, Google."
very upset about that because the building didn't want any of these big companies advertising.
Oh.
So they and another bank held up a big sign as a kind of a free advertisement.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, the Google floor. He also talked to he wanted to high five somebody, but the person like
yeah,
ignored him or whatever. He was funny
yeah.
on the
That's
building.
funny. And you said you had how many cameras? 30?
34.
34. So you had, um can you walk us through which one you
Yeah,
had
so
drones and
I'm not going to remember
yeah.
the placement of all of them, but we had
Yeah.
a helicopter.
You can use the building as a example.
Yeah. Well, if I could share a screen, I'd show you a diagram.
Oh, oh shoot, yeah.
Yeah.
We could
We had a helicopter. We had drones, 3 drones. We had 2 cameras on the base here following around and watching Sani
Oh,
as
yeah.
she looked up. Then we had a camera that went inside with Sani and with, Mark Romer. Then we had a camera here looking down. We had cameras here looking up. We had a cable cam
Oh,
that
that was
ran like
amazing.
this. We had the
Yeah.
camera of the Brett Lowell, which was on a winch
Oh,
that we
wow.
like that. And so the camera positions were set. The cameramen leapfrogged as he went up, and some cameras were looking down from these little balconies. And other
Oh.
then that same camera could look up as he goes up. And then we had 2 cameras here on this deck, and then we had remote cameras here and on one remote camera here and 2 remote cameras on the top of the spire because we couldn't get climbers
Ah,
up there. It'd be too distracting.
right,
And
right.
then we had our set where we had 5 cameras for our hosts, including a jib, a steady cam, and regular ped cameras. And we had 1 camera shooting across the street at crowds. I don't know what that adds up to, but
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. The talent, who was your talent? Who decided that?
so Netflix decided Elle Duncan. She was the newly announced face of Netflix sports. Superb. She had just come over from ESPN. And Seth Rollins, who's one of the world's most renowned WWE wrestlers. Netflix has a relationship with WWE. His role is to be kind of like the everyman who can, just express the wonder and fear that our audience was experiencing. And then we selected two climbers, Emily Harrington, one of Alex's best friends, feature film made about her, probably the world's best female climber. And then Pete Woods, who's our play-by-play guy. There aren't too many people who do play-by-play in the sport of climbing, but he was one of them. And we selected him. And then up in the building with Mark Rober. So Mark was absolutely incredible. And as soon as we heard the name Mark Rober, who was decided by Netflix, we changed around the show. Because originally it was just going to be somebody who's going to follow Sani up the building. But now we said, okay, let's take advantage of his skill as a communicator, as an engineer, as a scientist. So we started doing let's give him the weather. Let's give him the earthquake stuff. Let's give him how long it takes for things to fall. The difference of wind between the base of the building and the top of the building and all these things. Why can't he use a parachute? All these things we developed for him and with him, which really made the broadcast much more interesting. And interestingly, he had never done live before, and he blew us away.
That's amazing.
He
That's
was great.
awesome. So this is a question that everybody probably wants to know, and this is something I had to think about when I was doing the live too. Like, what I know there was a delay too, but like, what was if things went south, if something horrible happened,
Yeah.
how was your team prepared to deal with that?
Well, we would go off air, letting people know that something had happened, and we would we'd keep them up to speed on social media.
Got it.
Yeah.
In doing my little live show, my live on the live show, I had to think about this too. Like, how do I want to deal with this? How do I want to react? And first of all, I didn't want to give it any energy. So I just didn't think about it. And I thought if it does happen, something horrible happens, I'll deal with my natural reactions. And, I, trust that the broadcast, has a plan and, will make the best decisions too. But it was a weird thing to think about, even in my little show, reacting to the show, what I would do, because I mean, you have to consider that because it's, obviously a possibility.
Yeah. And we spent a lot of time on this, and this is not the first time that I've had to prepare for these kinds of things. Not only should the worst happen, but he could fall and sprain an ankle, right? Land on a
Yeah,
balcony or whatever, fall just a couple of stories, and how
sure.
would we handle that? So there are any number of contingencies that
Right.
we would have to deal with while we're live on the air. And so what do we do? Some of the things are automatic. Some of the things require time just to talk it through with the Netflix executives. And which of those things required what was worked out ahead of time.
Yeah.
And the other part of it is, look, the people I work with have never experienced anything like that. And so what's the emotional toll? What's the ability of the team in the truck? Will their ability to react be compromised? Right.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good
And so
question.
how do we handle that? And so what we do is we spread there's three people who have the same button that they could push.
Right. Wow. Interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
That you don't think about that if the guy in, know.
And what's the reaction of the crowd? What's the reaction of the people who are on the set?
Yeah,
So yeah, all those things are considered. All of them are extraordinary long shots, but just as you thought about it, we have to be prepared.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you have to. But at the end of the day, it looked very easy for Alex. It looked, when he said I could do this, guys, it's not that bad. you see him do it and you realize, like, he's just extraordinarily talented. He's just this phenomenal athlete 'cause it looked easy. Like, it really wasn't that hard for him, really,
Yeah,
at
and
the
then
end
you
of the
look at
day.
everybody after that who's tried, like, there are all these memes and stuff people have tried. And
Yeah.
one of the ledges apparently is broken because so many people have tried to climb. Nobody's got up above the first section, okay, which is
That
Wow.
You know
12.
what? That was one of my favorite things about the post show is all the photographs of people trying like to climb the building and they can't even get, halfway up the first floor.
Or climb the banisters
So
on the second floor of their house.
Yeah.
There's this guy, I don't know if you're familiar with CrossFit, but the CrossFit current champ is Jason Hopper, and he's this big, strong guy. He, is considered the fittest guy on the planet, and he tried it and he's like, he only got like 3 feet up the wall and he's like, done. But it just goes to show like how extraordinary Alex is, how talented he is.
Yeah, and, I mean, if you can compare him to kind of the most elite basketball players. Um, you could never, ever do what they can do. And it just blows you away when you actually kind of see them in person on the floor doing what they do. It's like, how is this even humanly possible? And yeah, it's the same thing, but we don't get to see this
Yeah.
ever. We never get to see this live.
Yeah.
This is the first time.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
think
a very, very new experience for everybody.
Netflix set the bar pretty high, higher than Taipei 101. And what was the response, at the end? Did Alex feel happy with, the
Oh,
climb and
well,
the production
yeah.
and
Oh my God. I mean, well, so he intentionally did not get himself involved in the production. His job was climb the building. Okay. We'll tell you when to go. And we tried to protect him from everything else. Now, we were at his home in Las Vegas, and so we did shoot a number of packages and things, profile pieces, that kind of stuff. But when it came to game day, it's just do you, and we'll take care of everything else. Actually, so yeah, after the show was over, people were thrilled. I mean, we went up to the production office on the 35th floor of the building, and people were in tears. They were so happy. The CEO of the building is crying, hugging
Wow.
me, hugging Alex, and yeah, it was everything he had hoped for. Now, keep in mind, he's a pretty modest guy, right? And so when he climbed El Cap for free solo, he says, "I'm like, oh, that was good, you know, oh, that was cool." Or I forget exactly what his words were, but it's something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So he's very, very modest in his achievements.
So for you, how high into that building did you ever go during this experience?
Climb? I didn't.
No, just go in it, like
Oh yeah, right. So I went to the base of the spire.
okay, wow.
And I'd been there twice before, also with these other projects, right? So I don't have a fear of heights, Sean. So I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's what I was just curious, like, I was like, "You have the best job, you're down in the truck." That's where I wanna be. I don't wanna go up there.
Yeah, but you got well. I went up there. In fact, I had to put on a harness and clip in
Oh, wow.
to go up the last parts of it.
Wow,
Look
But I
at
didn't go to the
you.
tip.
that's wild, man, that's crazy.
I would have.
Wa
They let me.
was it
Wow.
windy when you went up there? Because the wind was the other thing that was scary.
Yeah. So yes, there's a huge difference. So the day before when I was up there, it was 23 miles an hour, and 25 miles an hour was cut off for our cameraman, not for Alex. He can have it. And
Wow.
so I don't remember what the velocity was when it was actually up there. He mentioned the wind a couple of times, but it was nowhere near as bad as it's been.
Wow.
Okay. Because it
Yeah.
looked like his shirt was, like, flapping at one point, and
Yeah, yeah,
that
but
made
he
me
could.
nervous.
There's no wind that would stop him. I mean, the guy
Really?
climbs mountains for a living.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Has he ever Wow. But I bet he's never climbed in front of a crowd like that, right? Was
Right.
that the first time for
Yes.
him?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. That was amazing for him.
Wow.
Does this
Imagine.
does this birth a new indoor live climbing league? You know, this team versus that team kind of thing?
Interesting idea. Let me write that down.
You know, kinda how they're doing with this new indoor golf league, like they're hitting against the screen and,
Yeah.
and,
Well, there's
uh
pretty well-established competitions now on rock walls.
yeah,
Is it series? Um, go for it.
yeah.
Go.
Well, you just set the bar pretty high. I mean, you're an Emmy Award winner, a Peabody Award winner. You've done live events, Survivor, Biggest Loser, The Simple Life. You've done amazing things, Earth Live, so many things. But where does this project rank
Oh,
in all these experiences
that's a
that
good
you
question. So it ranks very high because I've never done anything that was broadcast worldwide.
mm,
So the impact is much broader than anything that I've ever done before. And that was the fun, just the idea of it doesn't change what we do, but the idea of that was really fun. In terms of um, the attention it has gotten, it's way up there. I mean, Survivor was watched by, I don't know, 60 million people or something like that. So, but that was 26 years ago. Um, but in terms of the buzz, this is very high, probably the highest, most buzz, certainly in the past decade or so. But as far as complexity, not. Um, I did something called Earth Live, which had 59 live cameras
I
on
remember.
wildlife all over the
Wow.
planet, every
Wow.
place but Antarctica. That was big. It was a 2-hour National Geographic Live special, and that was my show. I pitched it, I sold it, and
Wow.
um,
Wow.
and so that I think probably in my mind is bigger, but this is right up there. And in terms of the people I work with, this is it, the Honnold thing. People I play
That's great.
tennis with, it's like, oh, wow, yeah, really?
Yeah, that's cool.
Definitely a conversation starter, right? Or, the best party story. You were on Skyscraper Live. And how many didn't Netflix get? What did you say, a billion
Well,
hits or
they
something?
stopped counting at a billion engagements, they said.
Wow.
Oh, stopped counting. Wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of it for them. That's what they want.
Yeah. With those numbers, you would think that this is just Sean starting rumors, people. That building in Dubai is next. The one that Tom Cruise was climbing, right?
Yeah, yeah. So he scouted that, the Burj
Yeah,
Dubai,
yeah,
and it's too difficult
yeah,
to do live.
yeah,
He would he it's very, very difficult. He's not sure he can climb it. Maybe he'll try at some point.
yeah,
Oh,
Mhm. If that's a live event,
yeah,
I would not say no to the possibility, but I kind of doubt that he would do that.
yeah. Here's the thing for me. Use ropes and do it on TV. I'm like, you can do that. Just, you don't have to do the no rope thing. That's what I would say to him. Go ahead and do it
you
with
don't
ropes
have to.
and,
Well, so
yeah.
how many people do you think would have watched if he was doing it with ropes?
Uh, I don't know.
Sean would be watching.
No, a lot of people watch. Nick Walenda did some tightrope walks across Niagara Falls where for ABC, and they made him wear this tether that hooked up to his.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and I thought that was pretty compelling, but the whole time I knew he wouldn't die, right?
Yeah,
Then he
yeah,
walked across a volcano without a tether, and I thought that was more compelling
yeah, yeah,
to do that. So it's a legit question.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think with the bar set this high now, Netflix would say, "Whoa, Alex is going to climb this, but with a rope." Maybe it's a
Yeah.
Burj.
Yeah. Yeah, that building in Dubai, the problem is the wind, is that what it is?
It's sleek and there aren't the good holds.
Oh, okay.
So, he needs to be able to this building, every floor had this thing he could pull himself up, put his shoe up, slide his shoe would slip every time just a little bit.
Yep. Yeah.
And this kind of repetitive motion, the Burj doesn't have that architecture that allows him to grab things and
Okay.
plant his feet. So that's the issue. It's much more challenging.
Okay.
And speaking of the architecture, how much did Taipei 101, how much did that building play into this story? Was it
Well,
always
yeah. So it's interesting because more than I thought, uh, I think it was one of the deciding points for Netflix
oh,
because the
wow.
building itself is a remarkable building. It's a cultural tower. There's
Yeah.
symbolism all over the place, and it's the most important building piece of architecture in the entire country. And it's there are dragons for protection. There are ruis for hope. There are 8 bamboo boxes that part of the structure. Those are good luck, bamboo, and so every part of it is culturally significant and it's very, very meaningful to the people in that country.
That's
And for
wonderful.
Alex, it's a different challenge. So each step
Yeah.
is requires different skill set, different approach, different moves.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a beautiful building and I could see why, the attraction and had good vibes. Maybe it was all the good luck attached to it. But you could also see the rhythm, that like each section, like the bamboo boxes, like Alex did the same move, up each box. So he could, kind of rinse, repeat, and knew exactly, what to do,
Not
which
really.
not really. Okay.
Here's why.
Tell us.
Here's why.
Yeah.
That is something he's never had to deal with before. The
Oh,
same repetitive movement over and over 180 times, whatever, over and over again. So it's something that he trained for because he's never had to do it. You don't have to do that on a rock face.
right. It's
You
different.
lose our
Yeah.
life. And so there's something called the pump, which in climbing is bad. The pump in climbing means the lactic acid builds up in your forearm and your arm, and you can't move it. And at one point, he started to get a little bit of a pump. He took a rest on the ledge, and he said, "Okay, I'm getting a little bit of a pump." And he kind of did this. It kind of worked out of his hand. So when you're doing that, pull your whole body up like this. Eventually, it becomes each pull is more and more difficult, and so that was something he had not experienced before. That's something we were prepared for and to tell the story of, though we didn't do a lot of it. Um, and that's why it's not kind of the way you describe it. It is a different thing that he has to deal with.
A different challenge. Yeah. That's super interesting because I guess you get fatigued in a different way instead of
Yeah,
spreading the load. Um, yeah, that's a challenge. You don't want to get arm pump or fatigue. How tall was the building? A
like
1,000 feet in the air.
1,670 feet. The
Yeah.
it was for the bamboo boxes part of it, where that was the really repetitive things.
The pump. Wow.
It's called the pump.
Yeah. Showing that little clip you guys show of him training where he's holding the bars, the way he was doing pull-ups. I was like, that's
Yeah,
freak of nature stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
exactly that is the move, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly the move
Yeah.
he
Wow.
has to make over and over and over again. So you can see where you get fatigued.
Yeah, just try that at home, folks. Try and do
Yeah.
a pull-up using,
Yeah, it was
l
great 'cause he had his shirt off. You could really see kinda what a physical specimen he is.
Oh,
He really
yeah.
is. It's unbelievable.
That was
Do you know,
amazing.
like, when he was trained for that, like, how many I don't know if he counts repetitions or is it just, like, that's gonna take about an hour and a half, so I'll do an hour and a half of these
I don't
or
know I don't know his specific regimen. I mean, he's
Yeah,
got a climbing wall in his gym,
yeah.
and, each section of the wall has got three sections. Each one can tilt like this, and so he can climb underneath them, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so to train for the pump, he holds with one hand and just holds as long as he can. But I don't know his specific regimen.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like the
It's
CrossFit of rock climbing.
Yeah.
So what's next? Where do you go from here? Where does Netflix go from here? Where does Alan go from here? Where does Alex go from here? You
Thanks for
guys.
asking me. I don't think anybody knows any of the answers to any of those questions. I have several projects that look. This was very successful, and I have other projects of the same ilk or similar ilk that have needed a home for a number of years. And if Netflix is happy enough, which they seem to be, and want to continue this kind of one-offs, big special events live, then we've got them. YouTube also has an appetite for this. It's a question whether the networks want to get into this space. These shows are expensive,
Mhm.
and so we'll see. So I have a few projects. We'll see what happens with those. Alex, I'm sure, has asked that question hundreds of times. I'm sure
yeah.
he doesn't actually know the answer. And yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure the choice is yours, hopefully. You guys did an amazing job, and,
Thanks.
I loved that you were in the driver's seat, and we got to experience the whole show and the way that unfolded. I think it was perfect.
Thank
I
you.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it, and, sounds like the world enjoyed it or enjoyed being scared or, just had something to say about it. It shook the world.
That's true. Fortunately, we didn't have an earthquake that literally shook the world. Well, I mean,
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, is that I guess that's a real possibility, right?
it's the most earthquake prone country on the planet.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh. Wow. Is there an earthquake season, or how did you guys plan
No, there's no
around
earthquake
that?
season, but there is extraordinary structure. It's called a damper. It's a ball that is suspended by cables that weighs 670 tons. It's a counterweight. So if the building moves this way, the ball moves that way and stabilizes the building. So it's as earthquake proof a building as exists.
Oh, wow.
Did you guys show that or did I see that somewhere else?
Yeah, so we had a whole package on it, which we dropped. So you may
Okay.
have seen that somewhere else.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they could probably
We
do a
we
whole
talked about it.
show.
We talked about it in the show. We didn't show it, I
They
don't
could
think.
do a whole show on just the packages that
I
you
bet you could
didn't.
do definitely a channel, a social channel and
Yeah,
get a ton of millions of views probably.
Yeah,
yeah,
so that's up to Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
They've got
yeah.
all this stuff. They
Yeah.
put out a couple of packages on social.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Um, is there
Yeah.
anything that you would like to share that we didn't cover, that like something that was surprising to you, or just, with all the planning and everything, was there just anything that stood
No,
out for
well,
you?
yeah, so little things like you're ready for your first rehearsal and the switcher on the truck goes down.
Great.
So for the next 2 hours where you're going to rehearse, you're waiting for the engineers to fix whatever it is that's wrong with the switcher. And then you have to go back, you have to rebuild all these effects that you're using and things like that. So, like losing a couple of hours from rehearsal time, that's not good.
No.
Back end, because of the rain delay, we were able to make up for it. Stuff like that happens.
And you adapt. Oh,
Yeah,
actually,
it's going on the air no matter what, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got you got to figure out. Unlike anything else, live television goes,
Yeah.
and you can't.
oh, I know. I learned that one. I learned that one. That don't
There's
fix
nothing,
your hair.
you don't fix it in post. With the
Yeah.
modern,
Yeah. It's real time. So if anybody to somebody getting into live, because live's huge. Live TV is the biggest thing out there. Super Bowl, Skyscraper Live, these are the biggest shows out there. To a newbie who's getting into this business, how would you recommend them getting into live TV?
right? So I think you kind of happen into it. I mean, I did a very different route coming up through news. There's a couple of people who've done that, but most people I think start as a PA.
Uh-huh.
They get an opportunity to be a PA on the Super Bowl. let's just say, and they learn as much as they can, develop skills along the way. I think entry level is, I think you have no choice really. There
Right.
are, we're talking about live television, right?
Yeah.
So when it
Yep.
comes to, because I don't know, sure there are, but I don't know of universities who actually teach live television. Maybe they do. Um, the as opposed to kind of being in a cinema school, right, and learning film or learning script writing, or learning film and doing reality television, all those
Yeah.
things. Having that big degree really helps. It's important. Um, I'm not sure that it's as important for this kind of space. Not sure. Don't know. I didn't come up this way, but
Yeah.
I would think you start as a PA and you work your ass off.
And
Impressive.
you came through news. That's interesting.
Yeah, my first job was as a news cameraman. Yeah,
Wow.
I
That's
worked my way
neat.
up from there. Yeah.
And is there a personality that fits into live better than another? Like, is
Yeah,
there
yours. Yeah, somebody who, kind of enjoys the risk,
Uh-huh.
and, somebody who's a little bit of an adrenaline junkie.
Uh-huh.
It was, but I'm much less so now, but I was. And, somebody who likes the action.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that's probably it.
I
But
should have gotten into live. Why didn't I pursue live? That sounds like me, all of that.
yeah, it's so live sports is a mixed bag in my opinion. My wife and I were just talking about this the other day. We're at a golf tournament, and live sports when you're young is fun as hell, right? Because you're with athletes and you're doing live television and all the rest of this stuff,
Yeah.
and you love sports. But you're always on the road when you're
Right.
doing sports. When your full time job is sports, you're always on the road, and so that takes a toll on family life and other things that you
Sure.
might want.
Yeah.
Um, so, but that's a much easier, not easy because it's a glamour job, right? So not an easy way to get in, but it's an easier way to get in than that. Um, I don't know.
Yeah, I like that. That makes sense. Well, we all have our weird paths into film, and I love hearing people's stories, like how they got their start. It's so fun.
Yeah, one of the themes we've seen on this show is a lot of people started in news, it's a
Yeah,
great place to
yeah,
start,
it's a
you know?
great
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Well, local news is a great place to start because you get to experience everything.
Yeah.
So I even was a reporter for like a week or two. And said no, that's and so local news um, you can empty trash, you can run teleprompter, you can write, you can shoot, you can edit, you can be on camera if that is your aspiration, and you can make mistakes. So when you're in small markets and local news, you can learn a lot, and that's the way I came up. As did a lot of people kind of my age. That was the way, work your way up from small markets to bigger to bigger to networks to whatever. That was my path. And I think that path still works. If you just want to get a broad set of skills. And I think having a broad set of skills is very helpful.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you know how to edit, you're not an editor, but you know how to edit, you understand what the editing process is. That's
Yeah.
very, very helpful. Same thing with shooting, same thing with writing. And
Yeah.
so I do write.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I love that.
And nowadays, another big skill, which we've learned, is you gotta know how to make a thumbnail.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, well, look, things are very different right now.
Yeah.
Creatorverse, right? So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
part of that, but that's a whole nother way to come up, obviously.
Yeah.
That's our new challenge,
Yeah.
as very experienced producers, we're now making thumbnails.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
It's a whole new challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
It's,
yes, it's lots of fun, but I love that. News is a great place to get started and get your chops, and we've had several people on this show say that they had, a great, early experience in news and that got them into TV and storytelling, and that's a
Yeah, I mean, it's
great
a good live
idea.
space. But
Yeah,
look, I'm not connected to, but I appreciate the fact that uh, going live on social media platforms is a very big deal,
sure.
right? And so one's ability to develop skills that either live or behind the scenes with some influencer, I think that's obviously very valuable. What Mr. Beast has created, uh, it started out as boutique and now is massive network, is very instructive, and so I don't know. I guess that's a way to go. I just don't know much about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we're all learning, all of us.
Yeah.
Adapting. Well, thank you so much. It's been wonderful, wonderful talking to you. And again, I enjoyed your show so much and learning about your process and all the decisions that went behind the scenes so we could all enjoy this epic, most epic of all time live show. I think it earned that status,
Yeah.
most epic.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And we look forward to seeing you on the award stage. Maybe we'll be there with you,
Ah,
hopefully.
okay.
Yeah.
Great.
That'd be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
But thank you so, so much.
Yes.
Well,
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
you bet. Nice meeting you guys.
Nice meeting you. Thank you.
See ya.